In a significant development amid global trade tensions, South Korea's Trade Minister Andan is in Washington seeking crucial tariff exemptions from the Trump administration. This diplomatic mission comes as South Korean industries face pressure from America's trade policies. The stakes are high for Seoul, with 25% tariffs threatening steel exports and additional levies looming over automotive and electronic sectors. South Korea's economy faces challenges. Nearly half of South Korea's foreign trade depends on U.S. and European markets. While Minister Andan navigates Washington's demands, South Korea is building stronger trade relationships with Canada, particularly in energy and metals sectors. This strategic pivot suggests Seoul may be signaling to Washington about having alternatives. The tension stems from Trump's belief that American manufacturers are disadvantaged compared to Korean competitors. The administration's push to address the trade deficit has caught Korean businesses off guard, especially those relying on the Korea-U.S. Free Trade Agreement. Some South Korean corporations have taken preemptive measures. Several are considering U.S. production facilities, while others might absorb additional tariff costs. However, securing exemptions remains their primary goal. Trump's tariff strategy affects Canada, Mexico, China, and the European Union. South Korea's response differs from Japan's. While Tokyo favors reciprocal tariffs, Seoul seeks diplomatic solutions and market diversification. The question remains whether South Korea's approach, pursuing exemptions while developing alternative trade partnerships, will succeed. As Minister Andan meets with U.S. officials, the global trade community watches closely. Knowing the outcome could set precedents for future trade negotiations. In a developing story highlighting global trade relations, South Korea's bid for tariff relief from the United States takes center stage. Seoul's trade minister has embarked on a mission to Washington, attempting to navigate a precarious diplomatic situation. The core issue involves South Korea's steel industry facing U.S. import tariffs. While previous talks yielded minor concessions, Korean officials seek broader exemptions. Korean corporations are now launching direct lobbying efforts alongside diplomatic channels. This isn't just about steel anymore, explains analyst James Morrison. It's about broader implications for global trade relationships and regional security. South Korean companies are pursuing a parallel diplomacy approach, reaching out directly to U.S. officials. Canada has emerged as a potential alternative partner. South Korean officials are exploring cooperation with Ottawa in energy and metal sectors, potentially providing a strategic backdoor into the North American market. The Trump administration maintains its position, citing America's military presence in South Korea as leverage. They receive our security support, noted a U.S. official, so fair trade practices should be expected in return. South Korea's strategy focuses on win-win solutions, offering increased American energy imports and agricultural purchases for tariff relief. With North Korean tensions present, Seoul's position is complicated by its dependence on U.S. military support. The story develops as South Korean officials prepare for meetings with Trump's trade team. The outcome could reshape bilateral trade relations in East Asia's economic landscape. As one Korean diplomat noted, this isn't just about tariffs, it's about our entire relationship with America. In a significant shift in global trade dynamics, South Korea finds itself navigating treacherous waters as it seeks to balance its U.S. alliance against emerging economic pressures. Sources in Seoul reveal a complex strategy, with Korean officials pursuing diplomatic solutions while exploring new partnerships. South Korea's limited options when facing U.S. trade pressures force them to rely on diplomatic channels and corporate lobbying. This situation has sparked domestic debate, with opposition leaders calling for reduced U.S. dependence while the government advocates for a measured approach. Korean corporations are increasingly bypassing government channels to negotiate directly with U.S. authorities through private lobbying offices, highlighting growing business community frustration. South Korea's strengthening relationship with Canada serves multiple purposes: diversifying oil supplies away from Middle Eastern dependence and creating an alternative route into the North American market for Korean steel producers. The Canadian connection represents a creative solution to U.S. trade barriers. Canada, with vast oil reserves, offers Korea an alternative to Middle Eastern energy dependence. Korean steel giants are exploring North American market entry through Canadian channels, despite legal challenges. The Trump administration, implementing broad tariff policies under its Make America Great Again initiative, is monitoring these developments closely. The question remains whether Washington will view this growing partnership as legitimate or as an attempt to circumvent U.S. trade policies. This situation exemplifies broader global trade tensions emerging from aggressive U.S. tariff policies. As these policies reshape global trade patterns, South Korea's strategic response may serve as a template for other nations adapting to this new economic reality. In a significant development reshaping global trade dynamics, South Korea finds itself walking a diplomatic tightrope as it seeks U.S. tariff exemptions while strengthening ties with Canada. Our analysis reveals the complex challenges facing Seoul in this high-stakes economic gambit. South Korean trade officials are making urgent appeals in Washington, highlighting the potential impact on Samsung and Hyundai if tariff exemptions aren't secured. These giants, with their substantial U.S. market share, face uncertain futures as trade tensions escalate. The consequences of failing to reach a compromise would be severe, explains our senior economic analyst. We're looking at potential job losses and disrupted investment plans. The situation has sparked domestic debate in South Korea. Conservatives advocate for concessions to preserve the U.S. relationship, while nationalist sentiment views continuous concessions as humiliating. Seoul is actively pursuing stronger trade relations with Canada. Ottawa's natural resources and manufacturing infrastructure presents an attractive alternative for Korean business interests. The Canadian option isn't just about diversification, notes our trade correspondent. It's sending a clear message about South Korea's willingness to explore new partnerships. This balancing act comes at a sensitive time, with Seoul managing security concerns and political pressures. The government must navigate these waters carefully, considering economic necessities and national pride. The emerging Canada-Korea trade relationship raises questions about future trade networks. Could this partnership catalyze a broader Pacific Rim trade ecosystem? As one diplomat noted, we're seeing early stages of a potential shift in trade patterns, though the U.S. market remains paramount. For South Korea, the stakes couldn't be higher. As global trade tensions persist, Seoul's diplomatic maneuvers between Washington and Ottawa may set a precedent for how middle powers navigate an increasingly complex economic landscape. Good evening, viewers. Tonight's top story focuses on a high-stakes trade showdown reshaping global economic relationships. South Korea, a leading industrial powerhouse, is walking a diplomatic tightrope between Washington's pressure and alternative trade partnerships. South Korean trade ministers are engaged in crucial negotiations in Washington, seeking relief from tariffs that have strained relations between these allies. The outcome could fundamentally alter the economic landscape across the Pacific. Here's what's at stake. South Korea, a manufacturing giant responsible for smartphones to cars, is feeling the squeeze from American tariffs. While extending an olive branch to Washington, they're reaching toward Canada. Canada, with its energy, resources, and mineral wealth, represents a potential game changer. If South Korea diversifies its trade partnerships, we could witness new trade routes and supply chains bypassing traditional channels. The implications are significant. We're talking about a potential restructuring of North American and Asian economic relationships. The burning question remains, what will emerge from these Washington meetings? Will we see breakthrough exemptions or another deadlock? Sources suggest these discussions could lead to a framework agreement involving agricultural quotas and automotive regulations. This isn't just about tariffs, it's about the future of global trade relationships. South Korea's strategy of balancing U.S. demands while pursuing alternative partnerships could become either a masterclass in economic diplomacy or a cautionary tale. We'll keep you updated on these negotiations. Remember to subscribe to our channel and activate notifications to stay informed. The stakes are high, and the outcome will affect markets worldwide. From the news desk, this is your evening report. Stay tuned for more updates as this global trade drama unfolds.